I'm going to spend this foggy day by the sea doing dried bean soup. So overnight, last night, I soaked the dried pinto beans, so they've swollen up quite nicely. And I have my large cast iron pot, because by the time I get done adding all of this and everything swells up with cooking, the little one would have been too small. So I'm going to put these in some water that I already have heating up in the pot. There's just enough water for it to be covered by 2/3. Like there's this much of the beans and then this much water over the beans. So I've got those covered with water. I'll put the lid on and I'll let them come to the boil. And as the process advances, as I'm adding things, I will of course come back and add to the video rather than having you watch paint dry, because I'm keenly aware that some of my videos are necessarily almost half an hour long, and I'd like to keep as many of them at 15 or 20 minutes as I possibly can, because I'm going to be doing corn tortillas during the next 3 months when my lift is down. I've got this time to work more on the corn tortillas, and I've got wire wrapping to do. So all of those things are going to necessarily be long videos. So I'm going to try to keep this one quite organized to just what you need to see to know what I'm doing. So there we are, starting the boil, and I'll be back in a few. Okay, they've been boiling for about half an hour, and as you can see, the water is now black. So what I'm going to do is strain them out into a colander, rinse them, and then put them to the boil again. Okay, I got the beans rinsed out, got some more water, clean water in the pot. So I'm going to put the beans back in and let them come to the boil again and boil for another half hour. But obviously, and you probably know this already, it takes so long for beans to cook that if I didn't break it up like this, it would be hours long, and nobody wants that. So now I'm going to boil them for the next stage, and then I'll be back. Okay, I rinsed and boiled and rinsed and boiled, I think 4 times. I went through the rinsing process. And the water is now just light grey instead of black. Everything is all cooked. So now I'm going to add, let me get this down where you can see. Now I'm going to add beef broth, cubes, salt-free, so that I can control how much salt is going to be in this. And then I've got chunks of onion. I like big chunks of vegetable. So I'm going to add chunks of onion. And I have slices of capsicum, red capsicum. that had been in the freezer long enough and needed using. So I'll get that in. Those are really good in beans. And get my hands washed off a bit. Then I want to get some crushed garlic. And in fact, I might actually get a few more cloves. I have a lot of garlic. I do like garlic a lot, and it's good for you if you eat garlic and onions and peppers through the winter. It does help stave off colds and flus. Oh, my hands are not very strong. There we go. Yeah, my hands are just not very strong anymore. I used to have big round balls of muscle there. Used to have very strong hands. But I also used to be a lot younger. That might be enough. It's a big pot of beans though, so I'll think about it. I'll think about it. Okay, and then I have sweet picante peppers that I'm going to add. These are like candy to me. Really delicious, so you just know that I'm going to put a number of them in there. Okay. And I will let this boil for a while. Get everything cooked together. And then I'll see. I have some dried Scotch bonnets and other such wonderful peppers, but I want to see how that comes out first, because in the same way you can't take out too much salt, you can't take out too much pepper, so I'd rather build on that slowly. So put the lid back on, let's get the boiling process started again. And when it's time for the next stage, then I'll come back and do a next segment. Now, all of those vegetables have been cooking together nicely. The onions are nice and soft. The garlic is nice. Because I went ahead and added 6 or 7 more cloves of garlic and just cut them in half and put them in, because I like chunks of things. And I was thinking of what seasonings to add. and I decided to add some Mexican oregano, which is different, has a different flavour. I decided I wanted to go with that. So let's just put a nice heaping teaspoon of that in there. I've got recipe for chicken taco soup and pozole that I'm going to be making at some point. So I wanted to have the Mexican. Let's see how much of this. I think for this, just the cumin, I think just half a teaspoon would do. Here we are. We don't want to go wild and crazy here. And stir that in for just a few minutes. It smells lovely. I'm also going to add some other nice things. Some brown rice, which is rather healthy. And something else that I got, which is well nice, and that's dried vegetables. This cooker has been doing this. It shuts off and then I have to reset it. But I reset it and it goes again and everything's fine, so I'm not worried about it. Now I'll put in some dried vegetables. I'll stir all that in and let it cook. After I start it back up, it only takes 5 minutes to reset, and I'll start it back up. And then when it's done cooking, I'll come back and show you the final result. Finally, the beans would seem to be done. Finally, it's been hours of cooking. Good things always take time. My hair's a mess. It's been a long day. Who cares? Now I can spoon up some lovely beans. And let them cool a bit. Stir them up. Oh, they smell divine. I mean, you can really smell the seasonings that I put in. They smell just gorgeous. I don't think that we're a culture that really have dried beans a lot. I mean, I've always bought them at Taj, the Mediterranean market, for years, but they're now in Tesco, and Ocado don't have them, I don't think, but Tesco do. But it's mostly the foreign people who eat them, you know. But I grew up in different parts of the world. I travelled as I was growing up, and I continued to travel as an adult. And dried beans was something that I actually quite enjoyed as a child. You can do so many different things with them, and I actually enjoy them. They do take a long time to cook. We used to cook them cast iron, Dutch oven. My mum had, I don't know where she got it, but she had one of those old augers, the wood burning range, not the coal, the wood burning range. Huge thing in the kitchen. She baked bread in it, and she cooked on the top with the cast iron pots and fry pans, and it was just wonderful. It was something that I actually connected to in a very deep way. I so connect to history and our culture, the history of it all. They're fabulous. They're fabulous. It's an excellent soup for a cold winter day. And if you ever fancy something different, go get some dried pinto beans and cook them. It's a long process. I had to boil and rinse 4 times. I've actually been cooking them for several hours, but it's well worth the time. It is a delicious soup. It's absolutely fabulous. So I do hope that you try it sometime. It's really fun. And another time, I'll show you how I clean the pot. Bye.